Oh, shit. You're listening to the O Shift podcast, a production of RMW Commerce. This show is for software leaders that are navigating the transition from a traditional software company to one that's powered by AI.
Some people, doesn't find it helpful at all. Some people actually feel like it reduces their efficiency. It's supposed to be as game changing as everyone say it is, unless it's just hype, right?
All right. This is Rick Watson. Welcome to the O Shift podcast. I have John Shao, who's one of the co-founders of Pipe17, which is a fast-growing player solving critical infrastructure problems for e-commerce brands in the order management space. It's a well-funded company. And so John has been really hands-on in that journey from driving or forcing early adoption, depending on your point of view, I guess. But welcome to the show, John.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Rick.
Why don't you just start briefly? Obviously, we're not going to focus a ton on Pipe, but a little bit about your role at Pipe, how it spreads across the groups, and what kind of company Pipe is.
Yeah. So we've been around for 5+ years now, and we're focused around this thing called order operations, where, hey, you have a really modern front end selling channels, but the back end side, once the order has been captured, how to route it, how to handle it. So this is our specialty. And me being the CTO, I'm here to drive technology, drive products, get everyone to be using AI as much as possible. And that's kind of my passion and my role.
Got it. And I think it sounds like it's been a journey from our kind of discussions from the podcast, and then there were, there was a moment in an all hand meeting where you realize that everything isn't always all what it's cracked up to be, and they're like everyone seems to be in a different place. Can you set the story for that and talk about how that came to be?
Yeah. I personally has been really interested and curious since ChatGPT first came out. I had like a personal license, like 2+ years now.
Mm-hmm.
And we got our company license a year and a half now. And, where we say, hey, ChatGPT for everybody, and, use it. It's awesome. But as we go through and start, kind of taking survey in a way, like doing all hands, asking people like the usage, we're seeing this really wide range. Some people, doesn't find it helpful at all. Some people actually feel like it reduces their efficiency. And some people find it like, oh my God, this is game changing, right? I'm like the 10x employee now with ChatGPT. So there's this wide range, and and I really try to figure out like how that came to be and how do we get everyone productive on it.
Do you think there's still a lot you don't know about employees' usage of ChatGPT and cloud and in some of these things, or do you think everyone's pretty transparent with their usage? I can imagine if you're not at the cutting edge, there might be some fear.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I think when there's so much like hype around something, if you're not using it, you almost feel like there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit hesitant to speak up and like ask questions, like and even for people that has they were curious, they tried it before. This like AI is moving so quickly. Like what 6 months ago is kind of irrelevant now, and what was bad 6 months ago is like really really good now. So I think there's definitely this hesitancy to talk about it, like what I do, how do I use it, what's wrong, etc.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you're responsible for engineering, but as a co-founder, I think we both know you're also taking out the trash, and you're responsible for everything. At the end of the day, what made you realize that this wasn't an engineering issue, and then you're going to have to push kind of beyond your own role?
I think just kind of going through and again going back to hearing people how they use it, realizing that okay, it definitely has helped me a lot. And I would think that like especially for the creative side of the business, like marketing or like the customer engagement part, right? There's significant help. But then after talking to them, some of the team member might not have found success initially. And then this is where like, okay, it's not just about, getting the engineering team to leverage AI or to build AI, but it's also getting everyone else within the company, because that's still a significant part. Like, we're a software company, we have a big, we have a good engineering team, but the sales, marketing, all those departments could also embrace and get the benefit as well, I think.
Yeah. I mean, did you find that you got resistance from some people, or like did you had to press people like, look, we talked about this last week, 2 weeks ago, and it doesn't seem like you've tried it out. Like, what's really going on here? Like, almost like a therapist, like an AI therapist.
Well, okay, maybe not go that far as a therapist, but funny enough, like I think the outside of the engineering organization, there wasn't much hesitancy, where people just didn't really know how to use it. Either they didn't have the time, or to invest in figuring out like what's the best use for. Like we actually had some initial resistance within the engineering team, because often they're the first one to try it and try the tools out.
Yeah.
And they tried it like a year ago maybe, and they're like, okay, it's not so good. Like, oh, I asked for it to build this thing. I built it with like 10 bugs. Like now I have to go through find every single one of these little bugs. But the tools are improving like quite a bit. Like
Right.
we are a heavy cloud code shop now. Like there's and there's a lot of usage within it, and that has been really like everyone's talking about it nowadays, because it's really game changing. Like it really brings a productivity boost, and there's all this other tool like Gemini, CLI, all these other things now that's really improving developer efficiency. So I think, yeah, people that tried it before, they're like, oh, this, somewhat works, but I had issue with it. It takes some effort to get them back in to try again, and then like seeing and taking like real. You kind of need to have this like evangelist, like getting one person. Well, like I think when I started Cloud Code, I played around with it a little bit. I was like, oh, this is really amazing. I took an engineer in our office, and then I like sit him down, installed it for him, and then I like, okay, let's go through and try this out. And then kind of show it to him, and then he showed it to other people within the team, and that's kind of how you get this, adoption that you want.
Yeah. So did you sit down with a person in each department, or did you have people raise their hands for that kind of role?
I think we have I mean, well, we do have team members that have kind of raised their hand. They're saying, hey, this is how I'm doing it. Really showcasing, and we celebrate that as well. We celebrate what they're doing, and they're going through now. They're showing the other team members. But in the beginning, I think we did spend some time with individual teams and kind of showing them different use cases. Like, hey, this is what you can do. Leveraging, maybe not just ChatGPT, but like the new AI features that built into Asana, built into tools like Granola, built into Hotspot, and then kind of showing them around a little bit, like how this could work. How the MCP, MCP is such a model context protocol, such a big thing now. How that has enabled like other tools to be plugged into the LLM, and you can query those information now, and kind of showing them like, oh, this is what's possible. And I kind of tell people, getting like an AI tooling is really like hiring like a really brilliant intern, and they do great on the interview, and there's a bunch of people that recommend them, but when they get in, you need like guidance and a little bit direction, and then they be really productive, right? Or else you just be like, what happened? Like, why isn't this really awesome intern not producing like what other people say they can do?
Yeah, and kind of like follow back on your statement you made, how Claude Code has been such a standout for you. What makes it so effective? Like, if you had to highlight 2 or 3 of the top features for you, even for you personally.
I think just the just the ability to handle complex tasks. And the way it works, where you ask it something, it doesn't go through and just go do it. It kind of goes through this planning phase, and you can iterate.
Mm.
Like, for us, our engineer team will iterate with Cloud Code multiple times in the planning phase to kind of get it to where you want to be. You want to target it for something that's like, you don't want to have like a huge blast radius of the change. You want to be something that's pretty targeted, easily verifiable. That something you can
Mm.
test it, and then the way that to think about it is like, just treat compute as free, right? Like, what happens if Cloud Code is just free? It costs money, of course, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
but it's significantly less
It's
than
gonna
human
keep
capital.
getting more free,
Yeah,
right?
it's going to keep getting more, like, the cost is going down drastically. So yeah, so so what happens if you can treat that as just free? Like, how much could it do on the side for you, while you're focused on like the really important things and thinking through? Like, it's almost like augmenting your capability.
Hmm.
um like, so I joke with our team, but a lot of times before I go to sleep, I tell Cloud Code something really complex. Like, go do this research for me, and I wake up and then like it has all the details for me. I'm like, oh, this is what it means, and it's pretty awesome. Like,
Yeah,
that's a huge efficiency gain.
yeah. I mean, I've found there is a lot of nuance in the prompting, and that has really taught me that. I mean, the engine is the engine, but each interface, ChatGPT, Claude, etc., has kind of like a standard default prompt of what it thinks a user means when they say it, because language is imprecise. And so there's almost like a default prompt that is always there if you like unpack
Yep.
the thinking steps. And the more you override in that, one of the things that I like to do is to ask the models what a good prompt is.
Oh yeah.
Like, what are you looking for? And so I can be more productive next time.
Uh, yeah, absolutely. Like, one thing we tell our team member is, sometimes you ask the LM for the prompt to do the task. Like, here's what I want to do. What's a good prompt to use? And then you use that prompt to get to do what you want.
Yeah.
And it's just really critical. Like, prompting is almost an art. And
Yeah.
going back to like the interns example,
Right.
like, in a way, like the way we explain it to the team member is like, think about, like, yeah, it's this junior engineer, right? You can't just tell it, go fix this bug. You kind of tell, like, okay, go do these steps, like, look at it this way, fix it that way, and then they can do a pretty good job. You need to give a pretty good instruction for it to do. And yeah, but often, we're like, even like, I often ask the LLMs, like, what's a good prompt for me to use to target certain things.
Yeah. And then saving those prompts so that you can make your next time easier.
Oh, I got
It's
all kind of hotkeys, like prompt for this, prompt for that. Now all the LLMs introduce the concept of like projects.
Mm.
So, like, one thing we do is we have our solution team have
Uh-huh.
projects for customers. So
Uh-huh.
that way we can inject, like, sort of knowledge specific to that customer. And when we ask the questions, they can recall those previous things. So yeah, like, there's a lot of ways to improve sort of like the generic experience with LLM systems.
Yeah, I've definitely done some experimentation on internal knowledge bases from these areas, and it's maintaining the state is a challenge.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Keeping it fed with data, it's like any data warehouse. Like, you don't want to be moving too much data around, because then there's chances for errors and like whatever. Like, for me, I use a lot of Google, and so as a result, I use Gemini
yep,
because I already have Gmail, I already have Google Drive, and so Gemini Pro will do that by default. I don't need to
yep,
move any data.
yep, yeah. It has access. Like, I think that's where Google definitely has a leg up, where other
Yeah.
tools need to build integrations into Gmail. into your Google Drive where you store everything. Where Google just has access to all that, so you can do all of it.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's fascinating. And clearly you're trying to get people to think using AI. Do you have, I imagine you've had to develop a new set of interview questions to assess not only the fact, like what is their native thinking ability, but also you want them to use AI effectively. So how do you even judge that in an interview?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a divide. I think a little bit where there's people who like has grown up, like the new college grads who just like embrace it, right? They live it like day in, day out. They
Yeah,
don't even
yeah,
think about Googling something, and the first thing they do is let me ask ChatGPT this like question.
yeah,
And then there are people who are like, have found use of it, uh, you know, like, and they have started to incorporate into their workflows. And we kind of want to ask like the candidates like, hey, what's your experience with it? Like, how far have you gone? Like, is it just you just ask a simple questions like, hey, how do I do this? Or do you actually go like the next level deep, like, ask follow-up questions? What other interesting use case have you done? A good example, we recently interviewed someone. They she came she needed to do a task where basically she needed to take some contents. She has like huge rows of these contents, and she needed to create bullet points out of them. And she used Claude to generate those bullet points, which is great. And then my follow-up question to her was like, how do you validate that works
yeah, yeah,
and it's good? And she's like, yeah, I had to manually review every single thing. um, my next question to her was like, hey, have you thought about just like reversing that? Because the LLM has a context of the content to the bullet point. Why don't you go reverse and just like ask, is the bullet point good for the content? And
yeah.
kind of start from a whole session. And that's kind of like the thinking we want people to develop, right? How
Mm,
can I not do this
right.
manually? How can I leverage AI? Because it's such a efficiency boost to myself.
Yeah, using AI to verify, to go in one direction and round trip, like from spec to code and then from code back to spec.
Yeah, like
Um,
how, why not, right? Because if it has the capability to generate, you think it has the ability to kind of reason and compare and check and stuff like that.
Look, you've been in computer science for a long time. I mean, Microsoft for years has had code analysis tools that even without running, the code could find bugs,
Yes.
right? You just knows and can find logic errors in these things. And I think, especially if for the person who created the code, they should be able to do the same thing. Um, Kind of shifting gears a little bit to kind of marketing and sales. Uh, I asked you a question to kind of rate the marketing and sales use, and you said like a 7 or 8. And so, like, what does that look like in practice? Like, what do you think the teams have really embraced and has been easier, and what do you think is hard? And what do you think? Are there any areas that you feel should be off limits, either for your relationships, or is it everything is just fair game we can do with AI?
Um. So first I have to say is like I am a little bit self-critical, and I always want our team to do
It's all
more.
good. It's
so
good. It's good.
so I would say like
We won't get you in trouble with anyone listening in.
yeah, like the sales and marketing team has really actually embraced it significantly. They have integrated into workflows. Our salespeople actually come up with really innovative use cases that they share with me, like how they're using it, like how they're like making little improvements, right? Because like even like a 5% improvement or saving them like 10 minutes a day, it adds up through a year if that's like consistent. So they actually have done a lot. I don't really think there should be anything that's like really off limit, but I do think that one thing is our like person to person communications. Well, ChatGPT helps. You don't really want to just send like what it generate because it feels a little often it feels a little bit cold. You know, it doesn't really convey your
Yeah.
style. It's getting
Yeah.
really good, by the way. Like I think everyone uses spell check or like generate the initial thing. But
Yeah. Yeah.
we ask people to, like, if you're emailing someone, like, hey, put some personal touches in there. Like, don't just send like this generic ChatGPT generated thing.
Right.
You know, but even like doing research, doing running marketing campaigns, um, a- and like our team definitely has a lot of desire and, you know, curiosity and willingness to do it. Now it's really about the leadership bringing in the tools to kind of
Hmm.
help them do that. I do think it's like more tools than process in a way,
Hmm.
where because LLM is so flexible, there's so much you can do with it. Like, hey, you know, what happened? Like, you know, can you have an agent that runs research for you for this particular customer, looks
Hmm.
through all of their, you know, everything they post on LinkedIn, look at all their key employees, look at everything they do, summarize it, take action, and everything. So it's really more, I think, bringing the tooling to enable the team to do that.
Right.
That would really help, you know, kind of take us to the next level.
The tooling, will help people build new processes because we're at the point where we have new capabilities and people expect higher productivity, but you need to build the tools, and the process need to take steps together. Like introduce a new tool, improve your process, maybe the tool gets better, and so as a result, you can you rethink what you were doing.
But yeah, no, yeah, I think that's definitely true. Like, it will be a more iterative process to go through and look at how is it improving, what works, what doesn't work. I mean, yeah, I mean, just a standard productivity tool. Like, I still am looking for a tool that goes through my email. I don't know if you have any suggestions, Rick, but I'm still looking for a tool that looks through my email. There's stuff that I don't really care about. There's stuff I need to follow up on. Then there's stuff that I wanted to commit to memory because it need to be recalled for
Mm,
a later decision. Like, that would be great. Like, that's what I use my brain for. But like, if I can offload that to something
I
else,
know
that'd be
it's
great.
not
That'd be awesome.
easy.
It's not
Um,
easy.
yeah, I started using Superhuman, which is okay. Um, it has some features. They're not really that unique to like come back to something in 2 weeks or whatever. Or you can query your in Gmail through Gemini. You can query your email with AI now and have a conversation to try to
Yeah.
say like, "Oh, in this conversation, what was the vendor we were talking about last month?" And so just the efficiency gain from a query like that alone is enormous because no way Gmail
No.
search would have worked on it.
No, yeah. I mean, just learning the Gmail like search queries like take some time, I think, for people. So yeah,
Yeah.
asking it in, like standard language. I have started this process. Like, Claude has a great integration to Gmail. I haven't tried Gemini. I think now, based on your feedback, I probably go try that a little bit more.
Gemini Pro is pretty solid. I've had some good luck with it, and especially because it's already connected and so it's included in Google Workspace. You probably already have it. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I definitely need to kind of check it out. I have this morning like kind of routine where like after waking up, I kind of try to plan my day a little bit. So I love it. Like, if you can scan my email, it says, "Oh, these are the 3 things you need to reply to, 5 things you need to
yeah,
follow up on." Like, almost like like assistant. So
you're right.
maybe
Right. Right.
maybe Gemini will do that. I'll have to go try it out.
Yeah. One of the analogies I use for AI, and I think it's important because the foundation of AI is data. And I feel like in the last 10 years, organizations have still, to this day, been struggling to make quote unquote data driven decisions. And it's usually because there's so much data. The people who need to make the decision don't know where it is, or it's not digestible. And the people who have the data don't know the business enough to make the decision. And it's
Yeah.
almost like an AI has the same problem. I mean, first of all, AI is built on top of data. So if your data is screwed, then you're screwed.
Yeah. Yep.
So there are data analysts in organizations that are like product managers, project manager type people who can translate between both worlds. In our last conversation, you brought up the idea of an AI analyst role that might be needed. Can you expand a little bit on that and see, like, is this a real thing that the industry hasn't yet bought into yet, or maybe doesn't realize is needed?
I mean, I think. Well, I go back. I guess I go back to the divide. Like, any business that started within like the last year or maybe the year
Mm,
and a half, I think they're really AI native because that's like people
right.
are building $1 billion business with like 5 people now. So they have built it from the ground up. And for a company, even Pipe17, which we're really AI forward, we want to figure out how do we drive more efficiency? How do we, level up everyone within the team? How do we get the best benefit out of the tooling? And I do believe this is helpful within a company where someone can come in with some direction, with some
Mm-hmm.
guidance, like the problem to tackle, because they don't have the experience. But if they like live and breathe AI, they don't even think about how do I, do this manually. How do I, even if I have to write code, how can we achieve this? Um, there is a possibility to drive really multiplier gains. Like example I think I share with you. Like you think about it, a 50-person company, a 5% boost in efficiency, like that's 2.5 heads. Like that's pretty
Right.
huge, right?
Right.
This scales up at bigger companies. So, the, like I do think companies should be thinking about like, okay, how do we have a team that, evangelize AI usage, build a tooling, build a
Mm,
process for people to best leverage it, and give people sort of like, this golden pass. Like, hey, you want to do
mm,
this? This is how you can get really, this is how you do it, and you can get a lot of efficiency. Especially they have the curiosity, I guess, like
yeah.
curiosity and um, wanting to like tinker around. Like that's super helpful, I think, with this
Yeah.
AI tooling today. With it's constantly changing all of this new stuff.
Yeah, I think it's needed. I mean, it's almost like I used to think. I go back to my engineering days, and you always saw the anti-pattern of the bad organization where dev would throw the ball to the QA. After not testing it, QA would just deal with whatever was there.
Yep.
And the idea of an AI department is as nonsense as that idea. However, if you have an AI department that's experts, that's focused on enablement, meaning like, how can what can we do today to make the sales team more efficient with AI? And so it's almost like a developer who learns to test their own code using the frameworks that the QA group provided. I kind of view
Yep.
this the same way with AI. And I think that technology companies, to me, have a model that they can apply across these businesses if it becomes, I think, more widely realized.
Yeah. I mean, if AI is supposed to be as game changing as everyone say it is, why not invest in it, right? Why not like make it faster or like get the adoption wider within the org? Unless everyone is just like unless it's just hype, right? But
Yeah.
it is pretty real. I think people is having a major impact. Not just on Nvidia stock price, but on everywhere that and people are seeing. So yeah, why not invest? Try to figure
Yeah.
out how do you get better adoption within the company.
Yeah. So, I mean, having a group whose focus, I've heard someone hiring or designating kind of an AI tools person to help standardize some of this infrastructure and to help even just like collect knowledge about what's going on, because somebody who doesn't know how to use AI, somebody who knows how to use AI can use AI to learn the next thing. But
Yes.
if you
Yeah.
don't know how to use AI, then you're not going to know.
Yeah.
A person has to show you.
A person has to show you. Yeah. A person has to kind of get it started, like open people's eyes to what is possible, right? The art of possible. um,
Yeah,
and
no,
can take from there.
it's 100% true. And there are times I've seen AI in my personal research just go overboard. Like, I'm a new parent researching something, or like, for my daughter, or researching a coffee machine. One time I'm sure I spent a lot of money on Gemini just trying to say, like, give me the greatest coffee. It gave me like a 40-page report, which
Yeah,
I immediately deleted,
yeah.
right? Because who cares at the end of the day? And so I think you have to find the right tool for what you need. Sometimes you need just like to ask a friend what they use, because you like you like how their coffee tastes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's I don't think that those personal connection will ever go away. But I mean, yeah, there's a great Seattle group called AI Thinkers. I think they're actually
Mm,
everywhere.
mm,
I try to go to their like events, and they socialize on different toolings. Uh, their last one that I went to, like Google
mm.
product management was there to showing their VO3 what's capable. But it's like, listening to how other people use it, like how, what they have found success, and taking that and adopting that. I think, that's really helpful. Not just asking ChatGPT, what
Yeah.
what's good.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating. I did want to close out talking a little bit about adoption, and I don't want to say it's a controversial topic, but obviously employees know things are being monitored. The different AI engines that companies can adopt have metrics that allow managers and someone like you who's trying to keep track of an entire company
Yeah.
what the adoption is like. And so I wanted to show a quick screenshot uh, that OpenAI provides at the enterprise level. Um, and these are all fake names and generated. And so you could say across the company, usage is going up or down, or different people are more active than others. It doesn't necessarily mean they're more productive, but it does maybe mean that um, they're trying to experiment more and more. How do you feel about the analytics that are available to you as a manager, good, bad, and different across the engines? What are the gaps that you find?
Um, I think generally, like as you're trying to push for adoption, getting analytics is great. I am sad that OpenAI, if they're listening, they should make the analytic feature available to the teams,
Hmm.
so we can kind of use it to drive more adoption of their
Uh-huh.
tools, honestly, within the organization. Um, I mean, I don't think you should. I don't think we're to the point where we're saying like, hey, I need to see you do X amount on ChatGPT every single
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But you kind of want to see like there are some people that are using it a lot, and then there's some people that's not using it at all. And you want to have a
Right.
conversation
Right. Right.
and understand like, hey, what are you finding that's really helpful, so that we can take that and message it to the wider org and socialize that, like celebrate that win, right? And then for the people that are not using it a lot, like just having a conversation like why, maybe maybe they need some additional training, like hey, like maybe they're not using it correctly, or maybe it's just not a good fit for what they're trying to do. Like that's okay too, right? But just having that conversation, and the analytics behind it, I think will help a lot in driving adoption within the company.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's something you mentioned, Claude having much better analytics at the team level. Enterprise is obviously for huge companies.
Yep.
And if you're a startup, you may not be able to afford that level, but Claude provides more to the average company.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud definitely provides more insights on how we're using it. On the engineering side, we do use Cursor, which is
Uh-huh.
a great tool, and it provides analytics. And one thing we realize is like, oh, you're not using like the latest models. You're using the default model. Like, don't
Right.
use that. Like, use like that's a thing we found through analytics, where we found there's a batch of people that uh,
Huh.
yeah, and different feature activations, right? Cursor has like agent mode versus ask versus explain. Like, we want people to use more agent mode because that has a bigger benefit, but the usage pattern is different. So, once you see it, you can kind of go target and work with the team and show it to them, like why it's better. And it's okay to have them come back and say it's not, like then at least you'll know, right? But like having the analytics helps to drive that. drive awareness and usage within the organization.
Yeah, especially if you're getting a group of people together and kind of helping, almost like a brown bag lunch for, you know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? Like to help people share war stories. It sounds like that's how you're using some of these town halls.
Yeah. We definitely want to evangelize and.
Can you walk me through, like, town hall starts? What happens if you're talking about the AI section? What are people doing? How are you leading the discussion? Like, if other people wanted to adopt that kind of model.
We generally try to find use cases, like we have our Slack channel where people share like how they're doing it, what they find that's super helpful, and then we kind of pick that up and take that into all hands, and then we can talk about it during the all hands, right? Then there's company, everyone's participating in the company rather than just a Slack channel. And we can talk about it more in depth. And there's Q&A that can happen, like, oh, why do you do this? Why not that? And have people, often there are people that come up with suggestions like, hey, I do something, but a little bit different. And this is the tool I use. And that's really great. That's really where you can see like, oh, this is super exciting. And people get pretty pumped up about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fascinating to hear that good old fashioned getting people together is needed to drive AI adoption.
Yeah, I think that would never change. I mean, people like we're social animals by heart. Like getting people getting together, and Pipe17 is a remote company. But once we do get together, it's always great. Like meeting face to face, and then getting to know each other much more deeply.
That's awesome. So, look, John, I appreciate it. This has been a great discussion. I think there have been a lot of nuggets that people can take from this, and I think your story really shows like AI adoption is not just about telling people to use more AI and then walk away. It's an active process that needs to be managed, measured. You need to invest resources in it, not only tools but people. And so it sounds like you're trying to climb that curve as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a must in this day, just because I personally do believe that it is an efficiency boost. It has been an efficiency boost to me. So I want to share that within the wider organization, and then have everyone get that benefit, right?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So, yeah, again, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. And just as a reminder, everyone in the audience, if you're a founder or operator trying to build internal AI momentum and have some successes and failures, we'd love to hear about it. Send me a message. I'd love to hear your story and feature it in an episode. So thanks again, John. And
Thank you,
look
Rick.
forward to seeing you soon.
Definitely. Thanks. Bye.